Hi, welcome to Baja Window to the South. I'm your host, Olga Sanchez de la Vega.
And I'm your co-host, Scott Koenig. Thanks for joining us today.
And here with us today, we have Tana Plascencia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How
Welcome,
are you?
Tana.
Thank you for the invitation.
Of course.
Tana, I know that you are currently the president of CANIRAC, and you also have a long history with Grupo Plascencia. And I would like for you, if you don't mind, telling us a little bit about how you all got started.
Sure, why not? Grupo Plascencia started back in 1969. My dad brought into town, or Tijuana, or maybe Baja, the first pizzeria, and that's how we all started it. Well, we started till we were about 14, 15 years with him, my brothers and I. But that's how everything started with Giuseppis, which now is a chain of Italian food restaurants, which is not only pizza, we serve pastas and we serve veal and fish and lots of things, which is very popular here in our city. And right now we run 10 units of Giuseppis.
Wow.
Now, I understand, Tana, that your father was originally inspired by Felipe's Pizza in San Diego, and that's what gave him the idea to start Giuseppis, which is, I believe, the first pizza chain in all of Mexico.
That's something we're still working on, if it's true it was the first one in Mexico. Because one thing is a pizzeria and another thing is an Italian restaurant. So maybe we were the first ones. Yeah, you're right with things that my dad went back then in the 60s. It was much easier for the people from Tijuana to get across the border.
Right.
And they live very near to the border with my grandfathers. And so what they did is to play in the fields, which divided Baja from Tijuana, California from Tijuana, and they would ride their bikes, and it was very easy, maybe 10 minutes for him to get into Felipe's, the one in Chula Vista,
Wow.
which I believe was maybe the first one,
Yes.
or
I
one
think
some
so.
of the first. And back then he was working at a bank. And so on his days off or in the evenings, he would like to go sometimes by himself or with a friend, ride the bikes and go to Felipe's and watch from the windows how they make the pizza and the smell, which is amazing. And then when they got a couple of coins of money, they will come inside, sit at the bar, at the pizza bar, and talk with the guys and just check how they make the pizzas. And that's how he all started it. He took the recipe from a book, but also questioning the guys who work at Felipe's. And then he hosted a dinner at his house when they were recently married, my mom.
Yes.
And he decided to make a pizza for his guests. It was only like 8 guests.
Wow.
So he made a couple of pizzas and they were, wow, this is amazing, this is great, how do you make it? You should open a place and sell pizza. And he was, well, it's not that easy because you need all the ovens and blah, blah, blah. And at the end, he got some money, a loan, and he started with a little joint. It was only one oven and maybe four tables for sittings.
Wow.
And he started making about 10 pizzas a day. And it was like they were selling super fast, so we need to close, make everything again, and then open in the evening and sell maybe 10 more. And that's how it kept growing. And it was from 10 pizzas to 50 to 100, and now we're talking lots of pizzas.
Wow.
But it's a very nice story. And we as a family feel very proud. And also he was, we can say, the inventor of the Mexican pizza. Because he was there every day.
Yes.
He was there working every day, he, my mom, and my grandma, and one employee. And all day in the pizzeria, and they got, tired of eating every day a pepperoni pizza or cheese pizza.
Right.
One day he decided, let's put some beans.
Some frijoles.
Wow.
Instead of the tomato sauce, they spread some beans, and they put a couple of jalapenos, and they said, this is better. And then they added the bacon, and it came the Mexican pizza.
The fusion, a true fusion now.
Yes, because that's how we all started with Giuseppis, and then we opened. Well, my dad opened another Giuseppis in downtown. Then another Giuseppis was opened in La Mesa, and then another one in downtown. So we were running about 5 Giuseppis back then, and my brother fell in love with the kitchen, and that's what we did. We went to school and studied food and beverage management. He studied to become a chef, and from there, through the years, my dad was like, we need to do something better or something more classic or gourmet. And we had a manager back then, an old guy from Mexico, and he was, why don't we separate a little bit the dining room and let's make like a nicer dining room, like a private or VIP room. And that's how Severius started it, because they named it Severius, because Giuseppis, it's Jose in Spanish.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
Jose, my dad and myself, we're Juan Jose, so our name is Jose, that's why Giuseppis. Severius means Javier.
Oh,
Severius. So that's, okay, in order for him, we put it, the little room was named Severius. And it was, a lot of people loved it, so we as a family and my dad decided to open a real Severius with an upscale kitchen. That's how Severius started.
How many people actually know that kind of information, that you name the restaurants after family names?
Yeah, that's a real story.
That's great.
So that's how the names came, and Giuseppe, and we call it Giuseppis, and Severio, Severius.
Now, the first time I met you, Tana, as you know, I write about food in Baja California. The first time I met you, it was the first food story that I'd ever written. And I was given the assignment to write about Grupo Placencia. So I met for the day with Tana, his two brothers, Javier and Julian. And Tana, you took me to Caesar's.
To Caesar's.
And we had some wine, of course.
Yeah, because I think we met at Misión 19.
We met at Misión 19.
And the next day we decided to meet at Caesar's.
At Caesar's.
And it was, how long was it, like 8 years ago?
It's been
maybe?
like 8 years ago, believe it or not. Yeah. So you, that day you ordered the sopes with the bone marrow, and you told me that was your favorite dish at Caesar's. What are some other dishes you love?
Well, we have lots of them, but that one in particular, well, of course, our top seller, and people will visit us because they want to try the real
famous
Caesar salad.
Yes.
Not because in other places it's not the real one, all are real. This one has, because you're in the same building where it was invented back in 1928, and we still manage the original recipe as it is. Because you go through other restaurants and you might find some differences in some of the salads. That's why now you will find in some of the menus with great chefs that you will call Andy Caesars or Jeannie Caesars, you know. But this one is the original Caesar salad, and I mean, not because we run Caesars, but believe me, it's amazing. The flavor.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, it's tableside. You're going to make it in front of you. They will explain it. If you want to be part of it, you can help them to make it. And that's a nice way to learn it and to try the real fresh Caesar salad.
Though I always leave it to the professionals. I never try to make it myself.
And what I also like is that you share the recipe. Like, people that come to the restaurant, not only they get to see it and they get to be part of it if they want to, but then you also share, this is what we just did.
Yes.
You know, so you're very open about it.
We give them a nice souvenir little card, which has the original recipe in the back. And once you're sitting there, you can learn how to make it step by step. And then if you've got questions, we're more than glad to answer. We've got a great staff of servers in Caesar's. Some of them have been there for years, so they know what they're doing, and they're very, very nice with customers.
And now, I'm not sure if you will know this information, but I think I travel throughout, different countries, and I can order a Caesar salad. So look what has happened with something that you have, that you get to have the original recipe and the original place that it was created.
Exactly. When you travel around the world, we always, not that we joke, we talk with the servers and the people. You can be in Europe or some other places of the world, and you just ask someone, do you know where the Caesar salad was invented? And they will, well, I'm pretty sure it was in Italy or Rome or New York or San Francisco, and people will say it was invented at Caesar Palace in Las Vegas. Okay.
People are always just amazed to learn that it came from Mexico.
And they go, no, it was invented in Tijuana. Nah, you're kidding. They will probably laugh. It was, and that's something that we need to feel very proud of it. not only as from Tijuana as Mexicans, because Tijuana is Mexico, and the Caesar salad was invented in Mexico.
Yes.
Through a Italian chef and the owner, which
Caesar
we
Cardini.
respect that. But it was in Tijuana where it was invented, or at least that's where it got famous, or
Yes.
the original Caesar salad. So we feel very good about it and very proud, to be honest.
Nice. Now, it's a very interesting story, too, about how Grupo Plascencia acquired the rights to Caesars. You told me that in 2010 you were driving down the street and the former owner was being evicted?
Something like that. I was driving back from one of our other restaurants, going to the office, and I drove in front of it, and I saw all the things on the street, like furniture and kitchen things. And when I got into the office, my dad was sitting there, and I said, you know what, I just drove by Caesars. I'm not sure if they're refurnishing everything, or maybe cleaning, or doing some upgrades, but everything was on the street. Really, can you check it out? You know, what I mean, it was, call them
You're like,
and
oh, we
see
don't
what's
have enough?
what's happening. Call them and see what's going on. So really? So I called the owner of Caesars, the hotel, which they're the owners of the property of,
Yes.
of the local. And he said, no, you know what? Yeah, I mean, these guys are not doing the right things, and I don't want to deal with them or nothing. I just want to shut down the restaurant and maybe make it bigger, the hotel, or do some other type of businesses. And they go, why, are you interested? And my dad's like, yeah, tell him yes.
So you saved it.
And they said, well, I think so. And he goes, you want to come and check it out? So we drove, me and my dad, we spoke with the guy at the end, shake hands, the keys, and that's how we started. And as long as we're here, we're going to be serving to the people locally. And as you said, the people who will visit Tijuana, there's a lot of Asians and the Europeans, Americans that visit Tijuana. And Caesars has become like a must for the people who come here.
Definitely.
And then there's lots of different restaurants. And then if you go driving through Playa de Tijuana, Rosarito, and then you go to Puerto Nuevo, which is the lobster, and you guys a must stop also. Then we go to Ensenada for some fresh seafood, and then why not come into the Valle and enjoy a great glass of wine with great food, because lots of the well-known chef has opened a restaurant in the Valle de Guadalupe. The Tecate is a charming town where you can find, very nice food. Not that well known, but if you go and investigate, you get good surprises.
Yes.
Mexicali is very famous because of the Chinese food.
Yes.
I think that's the best Chinese food in Mexico, and sometimes we can compete even with other countries. But that's their specialty. But Mexicali has been growing really, really good. Now they're serving lots of different food. So Baja California altogether has become a gastro tourist destination.
Yes.
And we're very, very proud, and we need to take care of that in order not
And
to lose
it is delicious.
You can't beat it. I've made a made-up job and a part-time career of writing about the food in Baja California. And right when you think you know everything, there's 10 new restaurants that open up, or a dozen new chefs that are on the scene. It's just ever evolving.
And I must say that when you mentioned, people that come internationally, I have brought and hosted a couple of people from around the world, and when they're tasting the food, they say, "Wow, I have never tried something that tastes this delicious," and then they realize that it has never been frozen. So a lot of the times when they come to Baja, they get to taste food for the first time, how food is supposed to be tasting like how it's supposed to. For like you said, the meat or the seafood or just the vegetables and the olive oil that we have. So all kinds of different things that we have that you guys and your team have made, Baja successful.
Yes, and it's not only us; it's the whole Tijuana and the whole Baja, because we got great chefs, we got great restaurateurs, and you can find everything. It's a great. The CANIRAC family, the restaurateurs from Baja and Tijuana, Ensenada, Mexicali, Rosarito, they're amazing, and that's why we're in the top for Mexico as a destiny for tourism food. So we're glad to be here. And
I would say a
we're
dozen
very-
years ago, you know, people thought of Mexican cuisine as food from Oaxaca,
Yes.
the Yucatan, Michoacan. But now people in the same breath are mentioning Baja California. It's really on the map, at least in Mexico, as one of the great cuisines of the country.
Yes. What we're doing right now, we're joining forces with like Oaxaca. We did last year. It was a deal. It was called Baja California. It was amazing.
I remember
This
that.
year we're serving at in Mérida. It's going to be Baja Mérida,
Baja
or
Maya?
Baja Maya.
Baja Maya, yes.
So we're working with some other states and see what we can bring and do together. So keep growing the gastronomy in Mexico.
Yes, so good. This episode is making me hungry. So we have a couple of minutes left, Tana. What are some of the things in Tijuana that you would recommend that visitors, perhaps who have never been to Tijuana before, would try? Not just food, but attractions.
Attractions, lately we've been growing. I mean, we have the beach, we have Rosarito, we have Ensenada. There's plenty of places that you can rent and spend a weekend or a whole week. If you like to surf, we got best waves. If you like to eat good, we got great restaurants. You want to just a nice glass of wine, why not spend a weekend or a week in the Valle? Go to Ensenada, you can go fishing or you can have good seafood. Go to Mexicali, try the best Chinese food in Baja or in Mexico. And there's always something good to do in all of the region. You'll find good hotels, you got great restaurants. Hospitals, I think it's also a tourism destiny, the medical one,
tourism, yes.
which is pretty good. We got great dentists, great doctors. I mean, Tijuana, honestly, not only Tijuana, the Baja is amazing. You gotta come and see it for yourself, and you'll see we're not wrong when we try to make it a great destiny. So we're very proud to support and the tourism people works hard, the government, so it's very safe to come to Tijuana, to come to Baja. And we wait for you guys.
Open your window, look to the south. It's Baja Window to the south. Tana Plascencia, thank you so much for being here today,
Thanks
man.
for
It was
inviting
good
me.
to see you again.
Thank you. Anytime.
Do enjoy a leisure and adventurous day of fishing in Bahia San Quintin, the bay about a 4 to 5 hour drive south of the border on the Pacific side of Baja, is a world-class sports fishing destination, a host to several important tournaments as well. So depending on the time of the year, you might even catch a glimpse of the gray whales, dolphins, and sea lions while you're out on the water.
Planning a trip to drive to the more remote parts or even the entirety of the Baja Peninsula? Don't forget to stop when you can for gas, or even carry your own on board. Gas stations in parts of northern Baja can be scarce, and with great distances in between fill-ups. Also, it's very common for stations to be out of gas or diesel as they wait for the next fuel truck delivery. It's a really good idea to map out gas stations before you leave to ensure an enjoyable and uneventful road trip. Pablo Berrigan, our next guest, was born in the city of Tijuana, and he's a key figure in the Baja California culinary world. I could learn a lot from this media expert and TV host. He's appeared on air with Televisa, TV Azteca, and Telemundo across the southwestern U.S. as well as in Mexico. He was host of the Battaglia Culinaria, the culinary battle, in 2014, which was part of the Tijuana Innovadora. And he went on to host the Baja Culinary Fest for 2 years straight. I had the pleasure of being there, and I know he did a great job. Pablo earned a master's degree in Mexican cuisines at Tijuana's Culinary Arts School and has lectured at gastronomic events throughout Mexico. Pablo, thank you very much for joining us today, sir.
Thank you for having me. I'm very honored. I have to say, I grew up watching the first generation of Tijuana Window to the South, and it's a great honor for me to be here. I was born here in Tijuana, so it was part of our culture to watch the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and congratulations on a successful career as well. Will you please tell us a little bit about what brought you into the culinary world, and just, you know, being able to share that to everybody here in the beautiful state of Baja?
Well, it was kind of a crazy adventure. It started like that. I was invited by Javier Gonzalez and Ana Laura Martinez. You know them from
I sure
culinary,
do.
the founders of Culinary Art School,
Yes.
to start the masters in Mexican cuisine. And I thought, I mean, this is crazy. I studied communications. I have a master's in human development. I've been working for almost 30 years in the media as a news anchor. What am I doing in a gastronomic master's degree? But they said that we need somebody with your profile,
Yes.
investigation, and you know, to research, to do research about Mexican cuisine. And I started it, and I loved it.
Well, it's such a deep subject too. I mean, one never stops learning about Mexican cuisine because there are so many variations just on a single dish, depending on what state you're in, what city you're in, what village you're in, what house you're in. There's so many variations. It's incredible.
And then
Yes.
also, if you notice, like every flavor gets your mind to think about something unique and inspiration, and your mind just wanders. How were you able to connect all that with your? I mean, you just mentioned in your career, you mentioned something about development.
Human development.
Yeah.
It was the first master's degree that I got, and it didn't have anything to do with. Well, I thought it didn't have anything to do with gastronomy,
Yeah.
but
It does.
it does. It does, because, you know, after all these years doing research about Mexican cuisine, traveling all over Mexico, and knowing so many traditional cooks and chefs, I've learned that if all Mexicans knew all the richness in traditional Mexican cuisine, we would be better Mexicans, because we would
Just
be
very
so
human.
proud. Yes, yes, definitely.
And
And I mean, I'm sorry. Cooking and keeping up with keeping all these traditions alive, it's as you mentioned before, it's so human.
Yes, and in fact, a lot of the cuisines of the different regions of Mexico are recognized by UNESCO as intangible heritage assets. Tell us a little bit about that, Pablo, if you could.
Exactly. Well, this is something that belongs to all Mexico, but it was because of one sample, I should say it like that. They presented to UNESCO the example of the cuisine of Michoacán.
They were the first.
Yes.
Yes. This came after a few trials before. They tried to have that. UNESCO at first, it was like, what is this? I mean, they didn't know how to declare the traditional cuisine of a country heritage for
Yes.
humanity.
Wow.
So the first intention came from Oaxaca. It didn't work out. So they said, okay, go back, do your job, you do your research, bring us some more material or
Yes.
whatever we need.
Right.
And they didn't do it, so Michoacán made their first attempt, yes. And it wasn't complete, so after the second one, they presented everything, and then this was this convention in Nairobi, Kenya, where they brought cooks, cocineras tradicionales, that's
Yes,
how we call
traditional
them.
cooks.
Yes, traditional cooks from the Meseta Purépecha
Ooh.
and from different regions of Michoacán. And then all of a sudden, it was a big surprise when
Oh
all the
my
delegates of UNESCO
I can imagine
stood
the
up.
flavors and the smell.
Yes, it was incredible. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but I've heard the story from people who were there.
Yes.
Like Juanita Bravo.
She's fabulous.
Yes, she's
fabulous.
wonderful. And she told us how all the delegates stood up and they declared that Mexican cuisine was had this recognition for all humanity. And it was the first one in human history.
Wow.
So it's amazing.
If you, I mean, just thinking about it, is all of the senses can get connected. The aromas, you know, the looking at the colors, and obviously the flavor.
Yes, and culturally, we're very attached to all of that. So when they declared Mexican cuisine as human heritage, it was not like the dishes. It was all behind of the dishes. The culture, the nostalgia, and all the traditions that brings this country and this culture together.
And
so, yeah.
Your mind goes to your heart goes to obviously your everything, right? And it just flies.
Totally, yes.
And these traditional cocineras are just like, cherished, assets, jewels of Mexico. And if you haven't eaten with somebody like a Juana Bravo or a Benedicta Viejo from Michoacan also, you really haven't eaten Mexican food, because they're working from the roots, they're working from the source, the original recipes, and keeping that tradition alive.
Yes, I totally agree. In order for us to really know traditional Mexican food, we need to go there.
Yes.
We need to try what they brought us from the past.
Yes.
So, yes, I have to say, a lifetime, it's not enough to learn all about Mexican cuisine.
Absolutely. Wow. Well, I want to learn more. Olga, are you ready to learn some more?
I want to learn it, I want to taste it, and I want to learn how to do it. What a pleasure it is to have you here.
Thank you.
It is not only a wonderful reminder of the beauty that we have, but also of the gifts that we have when you come to Mexico. Thank you so much for coming to Baja Window to the South.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. We really enjoyed talking with you today and learning about Mexican gastronomy.
Thank you very much.
And that is another amazing episode of Baja Window to the South. Thank you so much for joining us. We cannot wait to see you again.